So this is Nina Brown in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and for me it's the evening of Saturday, and we are hoping that we will be attracting some guests from Australia and New Zealand, which will of course be there tomorrow, which I think is so extraordinary. I have lots of friends there, and I hope that they come play with us. But in the meantime, let me just start by introducing the book and the reason why we are playing on Google Hangout. This is the old edition because I ran out of the new editions, S.T.A.R, which is now S.T.A.R Philosophy. And we're talking about the principles of the highest octave we can express of surrender, trust, allow, and receive, and using those as a tool, what I call the magic wand of the sovereign being. And today we are focused on talking about S.T.A.R philosophy expanding across the planet, or we'll talk about whatever we feel like. And especially since there's some old buddies on the broadcast. I see that Kathleen, you're there, and JC,
Hola.
you're there. So JC, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody who will or are listening at the moment.
Hi, I'm JC from Southern California, and actually I would like to make a correction. At the end of the last Hangout, I said my first priority is to integrate, and I realized my error is that my first priority is self-love, and integration is just the byproduct of it. So
beautiful distinction.
yes, very important. It kind of put some pressure when I said that, so I realized I needed to correct myself.
Your body is giving you a clue. That's good.
Yes.
And you listen.
Yes.
Well, just give a little bit of, for the people that don't know who you are.
It's always kind of interesting to, because I've let go of so many identifications. I just want to, be love. I just want to be
That's good.
Source extended into this physical realm, and that's kind of who I want to be.
I love it. I love it. Well, and of course, I think that all the other identities are how you're expressing. So
true. It's the character that I'm playing, which is a unique character, just like everybody else's character. And I think when I talk about that character, I want to do it in a kind of fanciful way, with a sense of humor. Because that's the one thing that this week has taught me, is to lighten up and have a sense of humor about everything. And, that's kind of what my higher self and source showed up and are teaching me, to not take everything so damn seriously.
I love it. Well, we'll get into maybe talking about your past week, but let's jump over to Kathleen and say hi-de-ho, and can you share a little bit about you and how you came to play with us?
Sure. A S.T.A.R concept came to me last March. Unbeknownst to me, Nina's book was being launched that same time frame. So we were sort of like on parallel tracks until December, this past December. And I learned about Nina's book, got it, read it from front to back nonstop. Started vibrating with potency, like whoa, can't stay here no more, got things to do. And then I went and found one of these Google circles that had already happened. And after I was really taken with the conversation that was going on, I emailed Nina, and we've been in a dialogue ever since, and I've been really lucky to be able to catch on with several of these conversations, first as just a listener, and then I got a chance to jump on board to participate as well. So I'm just another traveler on the path, but I'm realizing that I have wings that I wanted to believe I had, but I'm really aware of them now, and that's a big part of what S.T.A.R has helped with.
Oh, I love it. Woo-woo! And the thing I love is that the two of you have gotten to know each other, and this is something that is occurring with others as well. And so we're really bonding, and I just love that.
I do too. It makes such a big difference for me right now. I don't have people in my physical world who are tuned in this way. Very, very few, and they're not close by. So to have this virtual yet global real people connection is, I've never experienced anything like this before.
Wow.
It's just fantastic. Yeah, I haven't been part of a global community where I signed petitions, and I would be where I was and be in a meditation where other people were in meditations around the world, that sort of thing. But this kind of check-in and the multiple ways that it's happening simultaneously is new to me, and I'm loving it.
Well, I'll just take a second to try to reflect. We've had Canada, the United States. We had Italy try. He was not successful, Salvatore. And Kenya tried last time, but he got his timetable off, so nobody was there when he arrived. And it's too late at night for him now. We have Israel. I think we had someone from Switzerland. Anyway, in the Netherlands. So this is really fun, and they have come more than once, and so I really love that. And one of the problems, obviously, is the time zone. And if anybody who's listening, if they have a suggestion on time zones that would work better for you, I'll try to accommodate it. I have to tell you, I would prefer 4 o'clock in the morning than 6 o'clock at night. I have this crazy schedule. I go to bed early and I do a lot of work during the night and get up at 4. And anyway, so JC, you want to say hello to your pal?
Hi, Kathleen.
Hey, JC. I got to tell you something. This has been in my head ever since we did the first email, and I had written out Jaycee as
Yeah.
JC. The first time I heard you say your name, so even before I wrote you that, I don't know if you're familiar with Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jesus Christ Superstar, the rock opera. There's a line that just keeps floating through my head every time. Hey, JC, you're all right by me. And then it goes on, Xana Ho, Xana Hey, Superstar, but I don't know if you've won all that, but that's the version of JC that pops through my head, and then there's a giggle. So you've got somebody who thinks that's really cute in your spirit world.
Oh, believe me, when I realized, I don't know who made me aware of this, but probably my higher self, that that JC was Jesus Christ. Initials too, and I'm like, no, because I seriously had an issue with the whole Jesus thing until I met him. So,
Cool. Well, you know who else is JC? My publisher, Jaylene Clark. Called that to my attention. My son has a very elegant name, and when he was a couple of inches long, calling him Armand Grant Spurgeon was just really too tough. So we opted for AG, and he's now living in Belgium, and apparently they don't do that, initials. And so because they're francophiles, it's absolutely fantastic, because en français, il est Armand Spurgeon. C'est très merveilleuse.
Well, I think your son set it up that way.
Oh.
Like before he was born, he set it up that way. He knew that would be like a very sophisticated name in the future.
I love it. Yes. Well, he got a whole lineage of it. He's the thing. So anyway, so back to serious stuff. So
oh, please.
Daisy, do you want to share anything with us about your week?
Um, well, my higher self, stress was kind of, building pressure of integrating and healing and all that other stuff. Decided to put me on what I thought first was vacation, and then I'm like, wait a minute, you're sending me to bed. This is sick leave. And then I realized that after the headache was gone, I was actually on a staycation. So a vacation staying at home. So all week I've been in bed, not allowed to get on the computer or go out and walk in nature, just lie in bed and do nothing. And so the only thing I could do was go inward.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully my higher self showed up dressed as Flash Gordon. Don't ask me why. He's playing with my inner children. And Source showed up with some humor as well to hang out with me all week. So it's been interesting because I've gotten to ask a lot of questions to my higher self and to Source from an ego perspective. And then the soul of my mother showed up unexpectedly because there was an inner question of what is the perspective of the soul who has an ego that is a psychopath? When an ego has that pathology, what is the perspective of the soul? And I had this deep desire to know that question. And so my mother's soul showed up. Not her higher self, her soul, who has that, body perspective to be, focused in the physical world. And so I got to ask her a lot of questions. And mostly, it was about curiosity. She had that curiosity of what dealing with that kind of ego would look like and what that would feel like. And it turns out it's very tedious because that character becomes very one-dimensional, which is why a lot of people love superheroes who are multi-dimensional, but usually in movies, they create, the supervillain who is really one-dimensional because they don't really know how to create that character because it gets really boring. So I asked Source, I said, what's the deal? I mean, why would anybody create a horror movie and watch a horror movie and act in a horror movie? And Source said, well, who do you think is the one playing the character who, with the machete in Rwanda? Or who's playing the character who's the little boy who's being cut up in Rwanda? I mean, Source, that's me. Source, that's playing all those characters. And some characters are fun, and some characters are just out of curiosity, and it's just all a game. I mean, you're just taking it way too seriously, just like everybody else. So, it's been an interesting week to talk about all this kind of stuff.
Wow, and do I understand that this is a new occurrence with your mother visiting?
Oh, yeah, I have, yeah. I have never requested. I have done a meditation in the past to bring my family into my Sacred Heart and forgive them. Because my ego needed to go through that process. Mm-hmm. But actually requesting her presence, I wouldn't have even thought about it. And I realized that one of the good things about her showing up is that she made me aware that my higher self and her higher self are actually, because she's really bored in her life, are creating a plot twist for her so that things become more interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, I can't really divulge, so this is a little cliffhanger.
Yeah, no problem. Go write a book.
Well, that's the thing, we love cliffhangers. We love that, our higher selves in the higher realm are trying to, create more interest and more plot twists and cliffhangers and, make things more interesting.
Well, I think that what I observe is how beautiful it is that the way you're speaking of her, because not knowing your entire past, it would be very easy to say, you harmed me, poor me, go away, all that kind of ego judgment. And it sounds like you're just having fun.
Well, I think the thing is that my father's soul tried to show up, but there was a lot of resistance to that.
Okay.
So I had to call upon parts of me that were in resistance to that, and we had a healing session. And two actually went to source, and two integrated with me. But they were, deeply wounded children. I even found out a memory that I was not aware of. But yeah, so he still wasn't allowed to show up, but he's kind of like in the background, still waiting to be allowed to show up and,
Love it.
and
He's in the
introduce
queue.
himself. He's in the queue. He is.
That's so cute. Wow. Well, that was a busy week, and Kathleen, I didn't think we were going to see JC because I thought she was going to still be in bed, but here she is. Well, so Kathleen, tell us about your, go public on your automobile. You wrote me such a wonderful email, and JC, we're going to use it in an upcoming newsletter, but put it on film if you feel like it.
Well, I will move there, but I want to start with, it's just kind of interesting because where JC spent the week in an inner world and inside the four walls of the house and so forth, that's what I got to change from my story this week. My ankle is in a place where I can do more now. I'm not even using one crutch. I've moved to working with a cane.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Give a little background to the listeners. What your foot?
In the first week of January of this year, I was on my way out to the car to go to work, and I slipped on ice. I live in New England. Slipped on ice and broke my left ankle on both sides. Both aspects of my ankle bone were multiply broken. And I saw the whole thing happen in slow motion, and I watched my ankle go 1, 2, 3. And so I have, it was like, as I landed in slow motion, I went, that's not supposed to look like that. But the S.T.A.R information had been with me all of this time, and the whole accident occurred in slow motion. And I was met with messages a split second before it happened. And the first voice, it kind of seemed like it came in on the wind. The first message said, trust. And then with a split second behind that came, all is well. And then as I realized that I was flying in slow motion up into the air and I could see my body being horizontal, the third part came forward and it said, now it's up to you. As I hit the ground, I heard my own voice, because it was a different sound voice and it came from inside me. I felt the vibration inside me, but it wasn't my personality voice. This new voice in me made a declaration. And as I hit the ground, I repeated 3 times, I am so grateful and appreciative that I am one with the all-prevailing healing powers of love. I am one with the all-prevailing healing powers of love. And this ankle never hurt. I never had any pain. The doctors and the nurses and the physical therapists are all like, okay, she's a trooper. Yeah, sure it didn't hurt. It didn't. I have not had pain with this. But what I have had is a lot of time on my derriere in a bed because I couldn't move.
The two of you, my gosh.
It's all divinely orchestrated.
Yeah.
Oy, oy, oy. And I've just, like, that was fine for New England winter, but once we get to the May, I'm like, this has got to move into a new level. So it has, and I've been walking with 2 crutches in physical therapy twice a week. Then I was down to 1 crutch. Now, as of they're letting me figure out what's working well for me. They're not putting me on a timer. They're letting me work with my own personal timer, which I'm immensely grateful for. And so for the last few days, I have been with cane instead of crutch, and then I'm walking with nothing at all except when I'm going up and down stairs. So I am very excited.
Uh,
Um,
and
and
how long has this taken?
because of all that, I've been really active. I actually even had a friend come visit for a couple of days this week. So I've been out in the world using up lots of physical and emotional and mental energy by being active in a body again, being conscious in an active body again. Oh my word, there's so much to it. I'm enthralled and in awe of the complexity of this multidimensional shift. I'm feeling that so much differently than I did last December. I am experiencing it differently. And another thing that's kind of interesting is in the last no more than 2 to 3 weeks, I've been feeling my body lighten up. I've just got sort of like blah, sitting in bed for 4 months. And I have only 2 pairs of jeans. Most of my clothes are like you got to go to work kind of clothes. And I can't go out in public in either one of these pairs of jeans. They're too big. They're so big that they're falling off. My derriere looks like it's an elephant.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've been talking about my body being a light body and densifying as I embrace more and more of my divine self and my sovereignty. I feel lighter. Well, all of these things have like come washing over me nonstop all this week. So
Wow.
JC, you're grounding the energies that are coming in and anchoring them on the inside, which is what I have been doing for the last few months. And this week I get a chance to try it out in my divine human body out in the world. It's just been kind of amazing.
You know what comes to me, I broke my ankle. I was on the tennis court, never fell down, and it was so noisy. I think I told you this, that the players on the court next door stopped playing tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. Anyway,
Ugh.
I was anticipating the moment when I would be able to run. And so what I'd like to share with you is what I'm sure you already know, which is we can play a round of golf in our head, and it's kind of like the body is actually doing it, and the muscles are toned, and the perfection of the sport occurs. So you might just ponder going through the visual of running across the field before you actually do it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Can I do that with dancing too?
Sure. Get your muscle. I mean, I'm making this up a little bit. So you do whatever feels good, but
Yeah. I have actually been shaking my groove thing. Because that's my number one way to be in my body is to dance.
uh,
But I'll try the golf because that's a completely different kind of that's an alignment. That's a very different kind of thing. So it's almost like a martial arts. I'll keep that in mind.
well, and I think there's a book about learning how to play the violin and all of that. But you don't have to physically do it. You do it mentally, but somehow or the body reacts. So that's my wisdom for the day.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is fun. Well, let me see. What can I share with all of you?
You want me to?
We finished writing the Fascinated Observer's Guide, and I am so excited. And we have, maybe I told you this, we have a brand new acquaintance. I had lunch with her for the very first time. She said I somehow or other knew about my work, and she is a former editor of a publishing house in India.
Ooh.
And she is right this minute writing an introductory letter to the owner of that publishing company. And she's going to send comments that I've received about the book and the PDF of the book. And the inquiry is, will they buy the rights and publish the book in India?
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. But you know the best part about that story, and I guess I could tell you lots of them that have happened recently, I find that my life is the most rich when it comes to me.
Yes.
I don't know where this woman came from, Susan Waterman, and I belong to this business, you're going to giggle now, business networking lunch,
Okay.
which is so funny because, you know, I don't really think I need to market. And I just like to meet people. Anyway, she sat right across from me, and I was talking to the woman next to me and telling her about this approach to life and to marketing, which is no more of this force. If I am aligned with the will of the divine, I'm going to use the word expect, even though expectation, I'm trying to remove that word. But life expresses very powerfully coming to me. Well, and I turned my head saying that to her, looked straight in front of me at this woman, Susan, and she opened up and she said, "Publisher India, book, me, I mean, I didn't even understand what she was saying." And it was just like instant manifestation. It was just so fantastic. Anyway, I'm about to be 70 in a couple of weeks, and I've decided that what's going to be different about my life is I'm just going to sit here. And I'm going to let life come to me.
Bravo.
I've done my work. I've done all my work. I've written all my books. I've done workshops. I've, run around the world. So now I'm just going to sit here. And it's happening.
Use the divine magnetic.
Yeah. And they're big stuff, like that children's hospital that they want me to implement the S.T.A.R philosophy in. And yesterday I had lunch with a woman. I ended up at her house for dinner. She wants me to be a consultant for a school for indigo children, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Wonderful.
It is wonderful because I want to touch every person on the planet, as you all know, and it's just going to have to. Someone else is going to have to figure out how to do that because I don't have any idea how to do it. I'm just going to sit here.
Let your higher self do all the work.
Exactly. Well, I would say it a little bit differently. I would say it's my wholeness, because I include the ego in all this. It's back to, I think I sent you my hourglass. It's back to that junction point, which for me is how I, in my truth, wish to express the junction point between divinity and ego, personality, combined beautifully, expressing on planet Earth. So that's who's in charge.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Kathleen.
I was just going to go with, that idea of 6 degrees of separation. Mm-hmm. And that was an example of when we were starting to really comprehend the magnetic pull. And it's not just gravity that Earth has as a magnetic pull. There's so many magnetic aspects to Earth and her fields of reference. And as we're moving around in this photon band phasing of things, the magnetics are, the pole star is not the pole star anymore. That the magnetics are shifting magnificently, kind of like beyond what our scope can mentally handle, but as an understanding, but if we can accept it. As a consequence, all of us who have gotten to that point you're talking about, Nina, who have allowed themselves to go beyond the fear-based definitions, to embrace even the concept of a whole self, that allows these magnetic energies to unite with us, so that you literally do not have to do things. Your being magnetizes. You just explained. You look at what you just said happened in the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
All you had to do was
a little bit.
They're all going like, "Hey, I want you."
Well, the very first entry in the S.T.A.R philosophy book is "Be the Love," and it was very intentional. It was intentional because I felt that it was important to upshift the frequency of the reader from the get-go before they entered the book. But be the love, I think, is exactly what we're talking about right now. It's not do the love.
Right.
It's just sit here in my chair and be.
And that's what JC was saying at the beginning in her introduction. She just wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's it.
And I don't mean no action step.
Right.
This is not complacency and passivity, if that's the right word. It is being, but following the directive of the inner compass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a little break here. I see some viewers have joined us, and I hope that we have some people from Australia and New Zealand. And if so, hello. And if not, hello to whoever's there also. Because, as I say, I'm very eager to arrange this Google Hangout so it accommodates the other side of the globe. You know, how come, it's kind of interesting to think that I think I'm standing up, but everyone in Australia thinks they're standing up also. You know, thank heavens for gravity. I think you mentioned it. I'm glad I'm not falling off. Anyway, so JC, tell us a story.
Thank you. I actually was thinking of one because you were saying the wholeness of you, and I wanted to, because I do think it is important, like every single aspect, I mean every single perspective that we have, our higher self, our soul perspective, and our ego perspective is very crucial. I mean, not one part of that could be eliminated, including source perspective as a whole. So one thing that I kind of learned when I was talking to my mom's soul is, you know, a few years ago, I kind of put myself in a deep hypnotic state to, you know, find out a little bit more about my soul, to remember a past life. And during that memory, an odd thing happened because I kind of left the body and wanted to know more about like what happened to my parents in that life. And what I saw was when both my parents' souls left, they both kind of had this residual feeling from the ego, which is how my mom's soul described it. It was like a residual mental note that, oh my God, we screwed up in that life because it was so restrictive. We didn't have room to breathe. We didn't have room to evolve. We were in such a small village with so many restrictions that we really couldn't, you know, everybody had a vision of who we were. You know, they kind of played like the bad guys in that life. And they couldn't reinvent themselves in that life. So they kind of like got stuck with a certain perspective that everybody saw them as, and they were in the negative space that they just couldn't get out of, even with me there. And so there was this residual feeling that the ego had about that life. Now, what is so brilliant about holding on to that is that they took that feeling in planning their next life. Now, this is something that my soul never does, which is goes into somebody's soul lifetime twice. I usually just volunteer once, but they asked me to do this again with them, and they would still be my parents, just switching roles. But they asked me that in this lifetime, what they wanted to do is go the other extreme, where there were absolutely no restrictions. We moved around. There was absolutely no, you know, nobody around to say, this is who you are. They could constantly reinvent themselves. But what happened in this life, going the opposite extreme, is there was nobody there to check them. There was no checks and balances saying, I'm sorry, but it's wrong this, prostitute your daughter. It's wrong to do that. There was no, no community to correct their behavior. So they kind of like went from one extreme to the other. So kind of understanding that the ego perspective can be very helpful in creating a whole nother life, a whole nother experience, to see where to go with what kind of experiences you want.
So that's beautiful. And what comes to me is, let's see how to put this. I guess I'm yearning for the moment when we can look at all of that and we can talk about it and remove the judgment.
Yeah, because it's just an experience.
Right, right. Okay. Perfect. And not every, that's a hard thing to do. That's a very evolved, conscious, expanded.
Hold on, I got a phone call.
Well, say hi to them, whoever they are. So, what do you think, Kathleen? Your comments.
While there's just you and me, can I ask a question that has nothing to do with this right
Sure.
at the moment, other than I've been curious since day one. How do I mute if I need to?
Oh, if you take your cursor and run it up to the very top.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it now, but I'm listening to you.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, you can do it because there are a whole lot of icons up there, and they're all black. And if you focus on the little microphone, should you double click it, and you can practice, and then double click it again, and you'll come off mute.
I got icons that were on the side. Okay, here they are. It's icons on the side. I have anything on the.
They're on the top for me.
Yeah, they're on the top.
Now I see it. Now I see it. Now I see it. Okay, they go away. They come back.
Yeah.
So you just double click, and it turns red.
I only click once.
Okay, I just got it to turn red and go, and you didn't hear me when I was talking, and now I'm back, correct?
Yes, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna get back on track here, and
Okay, sorry about that.
no.
Someone keeps changing my appointment for today.
We can do whatever we want to with this because I have the go button here. So why do I think it's important, the topic, which is the star philosophy across the planet? Why am I so eager to reach out to Africa, New Zealand, Australia, China, you name it?
Can I offer something? I think.
Sure.
Because one of the things that I was so deeply moved by is that it is so malleable. It's just so universal. It's not limited by the specifics of a situation, but it does transcend whatever the specifics are.
Uh-huh.
So it is literally a universal application of an application experience for we humans, no matter where we may be residing or what conundrums we're moving ourselves through. Those things cannot be the STAR philosophy, the tools, the magic wand isn't limited by any of those. It could literally be people in any situation, from something that's news headlines horrible in quotes to and trauma drama directed. It could lift people right out of that. Mm-hmm. To and all the way through every single spectrum. That's the thing that I found what most amazing about it was how completely versatile, completely universal, completely flexible it is, and it's beyond capable in any one of those situations.
You're so articulate. I love that. One of the amazing things that happened to me this morning, again, the universe coming to me. I got an email, and it's concerning a medical conference this summer, and I think asking whether I would like to be a participant. Ooh. And I'm sitting here thinking how absolutely fabulous, because as you know from the newsletters, so many people are writing me saying that they are applying the philosophy to those conditions. And just for the viewers who maybe are new to this, there are three primary, besides surrender, trust, allow, receive, which is S.T.A.R, there are three primary elements that are so powerful. One is going through the experience as the fascinated observer with no expectation of outcome. Critical. The second one is no emotions of suffering from the past are allowed into the experiencing of this event. Third thing is no emotions of fear of the future. So you are just this incredible fascinated observer in the now moment, really choosing a different reality, which is what Kathleen has said over and over again. You shifted your reality just by those three primary constructs. So it's really, I just really appreciate what you said. So I have another take on it to complement what you said, which is I believe that everyone on this call, all the star seeds on the planet, have returned to the planet at this moment in the evolution of human consciousness to create the next golden age. But it's more than that. And it's in my book. Every time I talk, I say the same thing. Anchoring it. So why don't we still have the golden age of Atlantis? So my premise is, and I'm talking really right about now, the Google circles and the planetary conversations. This is all related. When we were in Atlantis, we were in Atlantis. And we were not all over the planet. And when we were in Egypt, we were in Egypt. And we were not all over the planet. And when we were in Camelot, we were in Camelot. We weren't all over the planet. Today, right this minute, we're all over the planet. So it's the star seeds all over the planet now have this technology web of communication, and that's just one. The Golden Dolphins created a golden grid of superconductive communication. That's another story. So there are lots of different devices that are hooking me to you to me to her to everybody. So we are able to take the coherent conversation that we're having right this minute, using the foundation of the S.T.A.R philosophy for the coherency, which makes it exponentially more powerful, and we're dreaming and talking about how do we want life to be. And you're giving me ideas, and somebody in Israel is giving me ideas, and somebody in Kenya is giving me ideas. Well, that's so different than somebody in Atlantis giving somebody in Atlantis giving someone in Atlantis. So I just think this is so vitally important. It's not just fun. So that's why I want to touch every person on the planet. Anyways,
and there's where the 6 degrees of separation comes in again. You know, love, that concept, love is the 7th wave. Well, you can do the 6 degrees of separation. Love is unifying on that too. And the whole 6 degrees thing is you, the individual, and count 6 people out in your circle. And that person's connected to the next 6 circles worth. So you're also tapping in. That's physics. I mean, they have the math for the physics to show that now.
Oh, so
you are
what I said with the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, You are doing it. Your simple desire and the fun way you just expressed it. We all used to be together in Lemuria, in Atlantis, in Camelot, in Shangri-La, in Shambhala. We were a community then. All of those thens. And this now, all of those nows, this now, like you said, we've blossomed. We're the whole garden. We're not in a garden. We're all the gardens everywhere. And it's the opportunity unprecedented, like never before, to have the gardens be aware of each other, and let that just flow. So I totally get what you're saying there.
Well, and I'm just going to restate with as much vigor as I did a few minutes ago. This is fun, but it is also
work.
Critical.
Yep.
The Golden Dolphin said that over and over again. Know that you're in a safe space. That's what we have right here. I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't talk to you about, even though we are broadcasting. Safe space, very gentle, focused speaking and listening, and we are choosing our words with care, high frequency words. I've tried, and I continue to remove some words that no longer serve. And all of that, the thoughts we're having, the words we're speaking are going out into the quantum field. They are turning into waves of possibility, and then we as sovereign beings are going to be the observer of those waves of possibility and collapse them into material form or our future reality. So this is big stuff we're doing right here, right now. And I say it every time we have a broadcast, and I'm going to say it again.
Please, keep doing.
Yeah, because it looks like we're just having a cool, fun time here.
Well, and
working hard.
Fun is important.
This is
yeah, so let's work hard while we're having fun.
Work hard at having fun.
Yeah. Well, the 4 essential qualities that I start the book with, play is a big part of it. The Golden Dolphins, they just told me the very first meeting we had that we were to laugh. And I couldn't figure out what the heck they were talking about and how was I going to make that happen. I had 60 people in the room and I was supposed to make everyone laugh. Well, I then discovered something called laughter yoga. Yeah, I didn't even know it existed. So I got myself a laughter yogaist. She came in, and the reason for it, I think this is absolutely fantastic. We were moving such incredible energy, just like we are right this minute, that when we began to laugh, it was very conscious. It was halfway through this 4-hour session. We had a 15-minute laugh-a-thon. It took that energy and it rapidly integrated it throughout the body and in the DNA field. We integrated that energy, bang, because of the laughter, because we were rippling and rolling and our whole body was just convulsing. So play and laughter and fun, it's medicinal.
Nina, you just gave me an idea.
Yeah.
I have a Friday night talk on June 13th, and then I have a few hours of a play date on Saturday the 14th with that conversation I've been invited to.
Yeah.
I would very much like to do that. I would like to ask the people with no introduction as to why, but ask people to write down a good joke for me. And let's put it in like a fishbowl kind of thing. And when we take our break, I come back and I read those and we laugh for 10 minutes before we get into the second part of it.
I love it.
The head trip has moved into something else.
Well, let me tell you what I do. Because I can't remember. I was trained as a laughter yoga person, and I can't remember any of it.
Your ego is disengaged.
Yeah, but there's one that I just love, which is to JC, having you stand in front of me as an example, and I tell you that you have turned into electricity, and so have I. And I take my finger and I try to. And then the whole room just burst into laughter. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. So that's what I do. And it's a whole lot of fun. And I'm going to do it in India when I go in October. I'm going to get them doing that. Because actually laughter yoga came from India. Yeah.
Didn't all yoga come from India?
Pardon?
Didn't all yoga come from India?
Oh, I guess so. Except laughter yoga is like new. So anybody could have invented it. Huh?
A new product of India.
New product of India, right. So, what do you want to talk about?
I could tell you the car story.
Oh, yes, please.
JC, I think I sent you the email on it too, but it's just really nice to be able to explain it. So I think when I left you all the last time I was on this conversation, I had just found out that I'd had the car towed to a mechanic that looked at it. I'd never dealt with this mechanic before, and he said there was like $1,150 worth of damage, things that needed to be replaced. Okay,
and you're unemployed right now.
Say again?
You're unemployed right now.
And I'm unemployed. I've had no income since this ankle thing happened. So, and the book value on the car is $1,300. Okay, I'm driving a 1996 Honda Civic here. It is a 5-speed. That's manual, counts for a lot, but not for book value. So this man is asking me to consider basically buying the car again. It's for its book value to put into it. And I told him, first of all, I don't have the money. I'm going to have to go to family and request permission for a loan, which is a pattern and things that I'm letting go of. But but there was all the ego personality stuff in that. And then I got in touch with the young man that I bought the car from. He's a Honda mechanic. I didn't want him to feel obligated to do this, but if he felt like he wanted to, great, and I'd rather have given him the money than the stranger money to get the car running. So I called him, asked him all of that. He said, yeah, if you can have it towed over, I'll take a look at it. Got it towed over there. He took a look at it. He called me within that same day, and he said, Kathleen, the only thing I see out of that whole list that he gave you is the radiator does have a crack in it, so you got to change the radiator. He said, I can get the radiator for about $100 from my guy. Long story short, $150 is what I paid to get my car back on the road, and I've been driving for the last 3 days.
Well, I love that. And the way you wrote it up and sent it to me, and we're going to put it in one of the newsletters, is that you had an intention that this would all work out with ease and grace. And so it's a form of manifestation. And really
all of these things are for me. I'm like JC was saying, she just had a week of really being able to go inside. I've had and really get clear on things. I've had 4 months of it, just getting down inside, and I'm back in the family home to have helped with my mother and eldering issues, which are now dementia, which is being turned into trauma drama beyond for everybody else, and I'm in the midst of it, and I'm like, it's not my story.
Right.
So every time Exactly. So every time I have a chance to see a piece of it as a separate entity and go, aha, here's another one of those things that used to be a hook, that used to get me, that I used to let take my power. I can see them individually now and embrace it for what it is, and send love and forgiveness and compassion all at the same time and let it go. So the power was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that I've realized this week as well, talking to my ego, because we were talking about egos a few weeks ago, is that I actually, being in the fascinated observer to observe my ego, I've taught my ego to become a fascinated observer. So it watches me, like talking to my higher self and to source and other parts. It's actually become like very interested. Like I'm, it's kind of having that perspective of life is very strange. It's very surreal, and I'm going with the flow too. Okay, let's go. So I think we could teach our ego to be fascinated observer instead of getting caught up in everything as well.
Well, it has to feel safe, though, and you've
absolutely.
allowed that.
Yeah, I mean it's gone through the S.T.A.R philosophy. It knows that I love it. It knows that it can trust me. I've set up that environment of, like I respect it, but it knows that I have greater resources than it has.
Mm-hmm.
So I have access to a lot more knowledge than it has. It just has the past to go on. So, it's in a space of being a student instead of a survivalist.
Oh, and fighting back. How wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
beautifully stated. Well, we have about 5 minutes. So, Kathleen, do you want to say bye-bye from the East Coast?
Sure. Where it's absolutely quintessential spring right now. So after talking about winter here, we have everything is so verdantly, pungently, beautifully bursting with spring, with vibrancy and vitality, and the multidimensional aspects, I think, are coming through so clearly this year. It's just fascinating to me, and I'm so grateful that I can, that I have the time, that I'm not working, that I have the time to focus on what the manifestation is of the divine world around me, so that I'm not feeling outside of it. I'm feeling a real part of it, of the big story, and that's helping a whole lot. To not worry about how am I gonna pay the bills, how am I gonna do, my focus has changed because spring is here, and I just get to be part of all of it.
Well, I was sitting outside, I guess it was this morning, and as usual, I kept looking for the fairies because I am determined. I can hear, but I want to see. I want to see the divas and the elves and the fairies, and I know they're all in my backyard. I just can't see them.
They do the same with me. They show up and talk to me and say, "Oh, you're not ready to see us. You have to wait."
And that's pretty much what I got. And I guess there is this hesitation on my part because I don't know whether I want to see them 24/7, and that would get a little confusing.
Is that you or your ego who doesn't?
Thank you. I'll have to figure that one out. But the house could get awfully crowded.
Yeah, it sounds like the ego to me.
Because, well, okay, I confess. How interesting. Oh, well, thank you. I'm gonna play with that because I'm sort of a solitary person, and if all the angels and all the archangels and the divas are hopping around in my house, is there going to be room for me to sit down?
Is that Nina or the soul who wants solitary?
Good for you, JC. This is good.
Because we're oneness. We love to be around. I think souls love to be around everybody.
Huh. Oh, I'm going to play with that. Anybody who wants to write me an email and tell me how to do this, I'd love it. Okay, JC, say something else. Goodbye.
Well, it was nice chatting with y'all. hello everybody from around the world. I was born on the other side of the world, so I feel very connected to the whole world. I've, moved around a whole lot. So I definitely want to stay connected with everything and everyone, and can't wait until we're all much more, you know, in what is it? Feeling in tune with each other.
Ah, beautiful. Well, I know by friendship and by acquaintance, certainly 50 people in Australia and New Zealand, and I know that land and distance is an issue with star seeds. And this is such an extraordinary technical phenomena, this Google Hangout, where people in Australia can talk to people in Australia that they would have to drive for hours and hours and hours and hours to see. So that's another one of the reasons I'm so eager to do this. Together, developing and happening. I hope somebody is on the call from there, and if so, hi. This was a whole lot of fun, and as I always say, so much more fun than me being here by myself. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate the laughing. I think I have integrated a whole lot of energy.
And Nina, you're not actually alone. I see all kinds of spirits behind you.
I know they're here, and I'll tell you a secret that's not a secret. And I've said this before. Have you ever had a dog jump up on your bed?
No?
Or
Yes.
a cat? Make it up. You know what it's like. The mattress depresses, and you can feel the depression in the mattress. Well, I don't have a dog, and I don't have a cat. But I have someone sitting on my bed.
Yep.
And it happens a lot. And the first time it happened, I was a little, scared because it was so foreign. And now it's just, one of my cosmic buddies.
Bravo.
Yeah, the ego likes to be territorial.
I love it. So, okay. So,
all right.
Bisous until, Tuesday. We're going to have a conversation with my publisher and co-author. And what are we talking about? I know, willful financial goal. So we're going to talk about money and finance and how S.T.A.R and Fascinated Observer relate to that. So come play with us. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, hon.